Okay, well, there's no traffic. Think about it. Bye.
Hey, Will. Hey, bye.
Okay, bye. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Say if a young black male walking up the street towards them, when statistically speaking, uh, even if they haven't experienced at the hands of a black person, statistically speaking, they're more likely to get assaulted by a young black male in the other category. Would it be racist if they made a decision solely based on the numbers or their references? You know, based on I don't know Fox 5 News or uh, wherever they're drawing their references from.
So, I mean, like, you can't say, and you can't say for certainty, but I think the majority of those cases, right, it's gonna matter, like, where you are, like, where your location is. You know, I grew up in an area where I would cross the street if I was walking at night and there was anybody, I don't care what you look like.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Hey, Emma, it's John.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
You know, but the thing is, let, let the statistics tell it, right? And I can see an argument for statistics being bullshit, but let the statistics tell it. Young black males, right, between the ages of 16 and 25, out of any other category, are the most likely to assault you. And based on what you said, right, like people's history, essentially that they credibility is blacks are not trusted now, therefore their decision to not trust them isn't racist, right? And how is a white person, you know, looking at they bring reference every night I turn on the news. You know, there's another black kid, and there's some people saying I'm feeling the fatigue. Being able to make that a real damn point, references to 16-year-olds that are really avoiding scams. Guessing on that one. No, I'm not guessing. I'm really much likely to fall from the 16-year-old. Not really said. At that age, range about that age. That's the young males in general are the most likely. Chances of men of total, but black males in particular, they find themselves in the system. Again, between the ages of 16 and 25, males in general are more likely to be crisis
systematic racism that everybody speaks of, right? That's where you're going. Just real quick, Mike Allen, are you there?
Hey, Doctor. Cool. This is Communist. Put me in the queue. I've been listening for hours.
That's what I was going to ask, and then Beaver can answer this too. Do we concede that the black community is over policed or not? That's to the white people.
No.
Beaver?
Concede nothing.
Please go where the crime is.
Do you think that we get the same sentences for the same crimes?
And you get restorative justice and CRT DEI justice. You're lucky. African Americans are the most lightly touched population in the country. Judges, Democrat, progressive.
Kitover, why are you making all these fake Trump rules?
What do you guys have a monopoly on President Trump? You sound like a Schwartz saying that's weird. Did you become black, Beaver? Are you black now? That sounds weird that you're saying it's weird. That's weird.
Why did you, bro? You had like 5 different President Trump rooms, bro. Like, was you trying to sabotage this room, or like, what's...
Sabotage. Motherfucker, it's called artwork. Look at my PTR. Every picture, every video, every room. It's called motherfucking art, and you are some harsh critics. Wherever an artist goes, critics spring up like flowers. You know how that works? If you're a great artist, you're going to get some pushback by critics. It's called artwork. Hello?
Anyways, some weird stuff building up.
He strongly dislikes Pepe, so that's the reason why.
It's all related to that. Okay.
No, I don't dislike anybody. I don't like the fact that this fucking faggot in Scottsdale named Peter or fucking Terry or Scott or David or Michael, whatever this faggot's name is, has taken over the Pepe brand. He's not motherfucking Pepe. Kekistan was liberated years ago, and Kekistan will always be free, no matter what this Corsican faggot midget says. Long live Kekistan and long live free Pepe.
You making 5 President Trump houses?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with you being a harsh critic and not a creator artist like John Kitover? I mean, take your criticism, go to the art gallery, and buy a piece of art, you fucking broke-ass Schwartz.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's giving RFK realness.
I'm not RFK.
Well, who here is double vaccinated, triple boosted? That's what we gotta figure out. Who here has buyer's remorse on the double vax, triple boost? Because Fauci's been outed as a domestic terrorist. That's obvious. Bill Gates, domestic terrorist.
Yeah, but you wanted to speak on the topic, right? So go ahead and say what you were going to say earlier.
Okay, everybody, this is Communist. I'd like to quickly introduce myself before I answer the question. Can black people be racist? I myself have worked with African Americans for over 20 years. I've learned a lot. I think there's a lot of metaphysics when it comes to working with African Americans. And when it comes to African Americans being racist, let's be honest, they're one of the most entitled racist minority groups in the planet. They are so entitled, so privileged. This white structural racism is a lie, but black structural privilege is a truth. They have essentially gamed the system. They are the biggest welfare recipients, the biggest complainers, and when it comes to ICE getting the Mexicans out, they were militant. Get them the fuck out before they take more of what we got. That's what they said. Brown, white, black, yellow, purple, green, it don't matter. Blacks hate everybody. They want what they think they're entitled to, which is free shit. But the truth of the matter is the motherfucking country's broke. So if you think free shit is going to continue for years and decades to come, no. The best years of black America is 20 years ago. Because there ain't no more free shit. We spent it all. So you ain't getting reparations. You ain't getting HUD housing vouchers. You ain't getting SNAP benefits. You ain't getting fucking tax credits for this and that. And you got to pay your taxes. And if your ass don't come into compliance, your ass going to jail. And guess what? Capital execution is coming back. Every African American on death row, they're getting executed. 2 shots in the head, 2 shots in the heart. That's one more bullet than you're entitled to. You lucky, because now we broke.
That's the veterans of America.
I have to say, that was the funniest I've ever heard John Kitover think.
I want to read you this statistic. It says, yes, extensive research and government data show that black Americans experience significantly higher rates of police stop searches, use of force, and arrests relative to their share population compared to white Americans.
What statistic is that?
The best of John Kitover.
That's just me typing in Google.
It was all worth it.
And the AI overview. That's what the AI overview.
Okay, let me ask that question.
That's so scary. That's who we are as a society. 9 out of 10 people, when they want to know something, that's what they rely on. Google something and they go off of the AI representative. That's crazy.
I think though somebody brought this into the room the other day, and we were talking about Baltimore City. I don't remember who it was, but Baltimore City, the Department of Justice did an entire, and I'll keep bringing this up because it was news to me. I mean, I just didn't know Baltimore City was that bad, but Baltimore City's insane structural racism was exposed through the Department of Justice, explaining how many times Black Americans were over-policed, harassed, terrorized. They said within a period of like I think it was 5 years, they gave 4 or 5 years, they had thousands and thousands and thousands of cases of people being wrongly just arrested and brought down, and then there was no charges that could even be held. Like, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands. So, and that's just, I mean, so this is the whole point. The whole point is that we can't think that Black Americans aren't going to be overly policed. I think that is like it's a delusion at this point. We look at and we understand where we were as a society when I don't know how old most of you are, but when I would say at least your parents are alive, people that you know that are still walking around today were born when a time where an interracial relationship wasn't allowed, when you had there are people that are still walking around today that lived through shit where white mobs would go into communities across America and attack Black people. We're talking racial terrorization. We're talking lynch. We're talking Jim Crow. We're talking. It doesn't matter. And what did the police do? Again, the police were, and I like to remind everybody because the people like to sort of forget that this is the origin of it. They were meant for slave patrols. And there's no people, they were meant for a very specific thing. So the idea is still built in there. So the police have just been the worst at it, right? And they've backed just regular Americans just going around assaulting, terrorizing, dehumanizing, killing, murdering, lynching Black Americans. It's just like, come on, we already know that that's still a problem. I don't think that a reasonable person would disagree.
What does over-policing mean to you?
Over-policing.
Can you wait 1 second, because I asked Gemini something. I asked Gemini, as of 2025 and 2026, is there an attack on white people, in particular men? And it says, indicates that concerns regarding reverse discrimination or anti-white, anti-male bias have grown within specific political alignments, particularly among conservative and Republican demographics. Studies examining long-term trends note that while cultural and political debates frequently focus on identity politics, institutional disadvantage, and diversity frameworks, these debates reflect ideological and political polarization against white men. Statistically, white men continue to hold a disproportionate share of leadership positions in corporate management, government, wealth accumulation, and higher education. This structural reality runs counter to the premise that the demographics is facing systemic disenfranchisement or targeted destruction.
All right, now summarize that in your own words.
Okay, so there's attack on white men.
That's not what that said. What it said is that there's a...
Let her summarize it so we can see her level of intelligence.
Yeah, well, she's just...
I'm retarded.
Give it to us.
I just told you I'm retarded.
Okay, somebody else.
Not her proving that she's retarded. This is getting crazy.
Well, that's what that proved, because it literally just said that there is a concern. There's concerns because there's a delusional ass conservatives who want to victimize themselves in the same way that Daddy Trump has done, and then they want to equate actual, real, like the hundreds of years of institutional racism based on chattel slavery and the dehumanization and weaponization of a person's skin color, to which, by the way, we still currently have, and maybe somebody could do a book about that. There's current black lynchings that are being done now. There's been quite a few of them as of very recently. So racism, huh?
Where?
Oh, sorry.
Dude. Oh, are you done yet, JJ? I was gonna.
Yeah, no. I was just saying that.
Okay.
Yeah, racism is still very much there's black lynchings going on in 2026.
You interjected Trump's name into this. Like we haven't heard Trump's name all night for the most part. Do you think you're saying did Trump add to the structural racism of this country? That's my question to you, JJ.
Absolutely, 100%.
You're gonna have to know now. That's really quick if you can. Can you tell me how? Like how does he add to the structural racism of the country? Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, you can't look at the person of the guy when literally he did that, which is actually this white women, which are literally the biggest beneficiaries of the guy. And he did it because he got stuff like things.
Wait, so how is it racist?
That wasn't his intention of doing it. His intention of doing it was continue propagating that black people are not earning their positions. And, like the same Charlie Kirk,
DEI is racist.
I agree with Alan that Trump needs white people. What do you think about that?
No, Trump is not any white people. Trump is white. He glorifies anything that provides
JJ, do you believe black people matter? Wait, I want to get back. Mike asked a great question. What the hell does it mean? What does over policing even mean? And what does it mean?
It means exactly what it is. You have police that disproportionately, if something happened, it's likely the black person. People where police will disproportionately surveil and suspect and enforce bullshit coercive measures in communities or on our black Americans. So you have more interactions through stereotypes. You have more, the whole the whole driving while black, for example. You have the pretext for what would include a stop. There was a thing in New York, the stop and frisk, right? There would be more just people walking or pedestrian stops, and you still see this to this day. There's this judge. I don't know if he's on TikTok. I don't know where I see it, but he's this badass fucking judge who is so awesome for calling out the racist bullshit. And he'll say like, I watch how many of these racial cases can actually make it to, and the judge will be like, hold on, wait a second, no, this is a bullshit charge. This is walking while black. That's what that is. And then he'll say, thrown out, get out of here, and then he lets people know like what it is. That's over policing.
It's like calling the police for if a crime happens and somebody calls the police, and the police come and they assist the white person and it's a black criminal, like that's not over policing. You're talking about like unprompted engagement from citizens. It's just the police observing something.
Not from citizens, or upon citizens. So you have also, besides the over policing, the concentration when a police would get their beat or whatever it's called, right? Where they'll patrol specific areas. Where black Americans are. And then, well, because of the origin of what do you think that is? Is there anything, Mike, that you could think of that happened within the last 40 years? Anything that could happen? Was that what it
Yeah,
was?
it's like this. There's been a lot of carjackings in the Johnson Street.
No red summers, no Tulsa race massacres, no housing discrimination.
They were pretty more, the bigger police presence. There's a crime. It's coming. for assistance.
Yeah, you're probably right. I've heard that before. I didn't know if that's true or not. But okay. But is that confirming that or not? I don't know, Mike.
Well, that's what you're saying. You're saying that they're calling. But if they got rid of police and black people, they the more police neighborhoods that are coming, black living better or worse for a decade.
I think that it really depends on the community, and it depends on what a cop is meant to do as, like as an officer, what they're meant to uphold. They're supposed to serve and protect, but stopping and frisking, and that's the overpolicing and stereotyping. Well, but are we still, but Mike, are you really going to, like, are we talking about it like we don't, like, you really think that there is, like, even an equal level? But you're really going to look at U.S. history and understand where we are, and you're going to really think that the police institution has done it equally. Like, I think that, I don't even really know what to say to anything that would even think that. Like,
That's the problem.
causation versus correlation. That's the whole point of over-policing. More scrutiny. When you have a bunch of people in a smaller area, and then it's also the type of crimes, like victimless crimes, bullshit crimes.
Scrutiny somehow turns up more murder victim bodies that they have to have for prosecution.
No, we're not talking about murder. We're talking about, I mean, were the 11,000 cases of no reason for people to be arrested? Like, what are we talking about here? Just that's the over policing.
We better off with zero police.
I don't think. Well, no, I don't think zero police. I mean, like, it depends on the area. Like, I was born and raised in a city. It used to be an all-American city. Then also became the murder capital of New York State. Okay, and not even 30 minutes outside of the murder capital of New York State, there are jurisdictions that have zero police department. It depends on, like, where it is, right?
What about Timothy? What do you think?
Yeah, empathy.
No police in Southside Chicago. How would that fare?
No, that's not a right idea. But this my thing, man. It be y'all say it's a lot of crime in these neighborhoods, so they gotta bring the police in. They bring the police in, and the crime is still high. But yet the reports of police brutality, over policing, all that still rising. So what is y'all really doing? You're not doing nothing. Other than policing black folks.
So we're not we, but the police aren't helping the situation is what you're thinking, Timothy, right?
Not efficiently enough. Not efficiently enough. If there's still massive crime that's supposed to be going on, and y'all bringing in all these police, but yet all there is police reports and brutality, people complain of police brutality, like that shit. Y'all not doing shit, bro. Police not doing shit.
Can I ask you, when you had your incident, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but with that police officer, do you feel, obviously you might feel like it wasn't justified, but did you participate in that at all? You know what I mean? Like, did you egg it on or what, man? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, not at all. I was false identified as somebody. Like, he falsely identified me to be somebody, and when I was like, basically kind of like not resisted, but I'm like, bro, what are you arresting me for? He kind of just got physical with me off the jump and just kind of slammed me on the ground. Which, I mean, when you watch videos, most police officers, if you don't comply with them verbally, they feel like they have the right to just slam you on the floor. You know what I mean? That's typical.
That's what I tell Bruno. I'm sorry. I'm from a white person. I'm sorry you went through that. I'm not very specifically. I just want to ask the white supremacists in the room. So, I mean, the real question to me is, like, is this a race problem, right? Because we look at these stats, like 1350, like 13% of the population does 50% of the crimes, shit like that. Like, the question is, I think for a lot of white people, is this a you think there are white supremacists in this room?
Yeah, I reject that. We gotta sort that out.
I usually say that too.
What makes you think that? I'm not finding out, man. Come on now.
Are you just presuming that they're in here?
Wow.
Big Play's on the stage. Big Play's on the white supremacist.
He's the only verified one. I mean, unless he's talking to him, I don't know.
But he's
Okay, here's trying to distract from the point. Do you believe, let me ask you very simply here, communists, I'm just trying to learn. Do you believe that this is a race problem? Like, when we look at the stats and we say, hey, 13%.
No, it's not a race problem. It's a good versus evil problem. We got people out in this world that are committing evil at scale. And then we got cops that even commit evil at scale. So it's really, the question is, do we want to continue funding the biggest gang on the planet, which is our police departments? But the truth is, in my opinion, the situation is actually kind of perfect in a way, because now we have body cams and we have cell phone cameras. So much of the police abuse is over. Talk to any cop that was a cop in the 70s, 80s, 90s. They wouldn't want to be cops today because everything is recorded. Every conversation you have with your partner is recorded. You used to be your own little judge, jury, and executioner with your fellow, patrolmen in your squad car. And there was no recordings of your abuse. And if you didn't give respect on the street, the cops didn't give you respect. Everybody understands the laws of physics, cause and effect, opposite and equal reaction. So take your political bullshit. Take your progressive, pluralistic, Democrat, socialist, communist, cocksucker, faggot, pussy bullshit. Tuck it up that clit. Tuck it up in that pussy. Tuck it up in...
William, real quick. Follow up. William, the question you shouldn't be asking anybody but people that have been speaking like Bima or other people your question, because your question is it a race thing or is it basically a class thing? And you're saying that the crime is happening in communities that are not wealthy, which would be poor. So now Bima is saying that it's over policing in the black community specifically, and you're saying it's a class thing, not a race thing. Then now the over policing has nothing to do with racism.
Right? Of course it does. Things both could be true, Mike. You can't, they don't have to be separated.
Right, he's trying to ask us about it. Yeah. But really what he's saying is that you need to justify the over policing because it's not a racial thing.
Yeah, that question was almost more directed.
Well, I mean, you could experience over policing and under policing at the exact same time. So you could see where these low-level crimes are being over-policed, but then the homicides are being completely under-policed. Nobody's even finding out who did the shit. So look, man, that's completely lazy cop-out. This is.
I don't think there's over-policing.
Cop-out that you're trying to. These are really complex social problems, and to try to frame it as a good versus evil is just a lazy cop-out.
William, I don't believe there's over-policing. The police aren't needed where they're needed. They go where they're needed.
That's not true, Mike. That's absolutely not true. There's literally, there's so many.
Described it. There's no police.
Well, let me describe.
You're putting words in my mouth. What I'm saying to you, that when you try to frame these complex social problems as like a good versus evil, you're just copping out. It's really lazy.
Because it said wealthy black community. Is there over policing there? The answer is no.
I didn't say anything about that. I said that why is there no crime in why is there very little crime in the wealthy black communities while there's tons of crime in the super poor white communities? It shows that proves that there's not a race problem, which you agree with. I'm just calling you out and saying that you're completely lazy because you don't actually want to engage with the actual causes of it. Labeling a demographic or a social issue like good versus evil, it just totally ignores the economics, the geography, the incentive structures behind it.
Get his ass, William. Cook that nigga, William.
Again, you're not.
Cook that nigga, William.
Calling people evil requires zero fucking work, zero research, and it offers zero solutions. You can't
write a law or build a policy to change a human soul, but you can change economic conditions and neighborhood resources, right? People don't break the law because they woke up wanting to be a movie villain or because they're black. They do it because out of economic desperation, they're pressured by locally by their peers, or they don't have legal options.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. That's not my position. That's not what I'm saying. BEMA is saying that they specifically over-police black communities because they're black. I'm saying no, that's not what we're doing.
All right.
Huey, you want to go?
Yeah, you're up. Go ahead, Huey.
Hey, so sorry. I wanted to come up earlier when somebody paused the conversation to ask the question about what does over policing mean, because I actually do think that was a very good question. I think something can be reconciled here pretty quickly in principle in order for us to get to answering that question quite clearly. So I think we can all agree that like if there are criminals in the community, they should be arrested and caught, right? Perfect policing would be like something like for every criminal that commits a crime, he is caught by the police, right? That would be perfect. Under policing, under policing would be something like for every crime that's committed, 4 to 5 some kind of disproportionate number will go unsolved or unchecked, and that's under policing to some degree, you could say, right? And then moral policing would be the opposite of that, which would be for every criminal that's caught, you have a false imprisonments, right, of regular citizens. I think the number that's interesting to look at when we talk about moral policing is the exonerations and false imprisonments and false convictions of given people put in these aside. If there's a community that seems to be experiencing false imprisonments, false convictions and exonerations, then we can, I think, reasonably come to the conclusion that perhaps the police aren't being as diligent, as careful, or as vigorous as they should be, right, in order to actually catch the actual criminals. What they're essentially doing is possibly just stereotyping, or possibly doing shortcuts just to, I don't know, meet quotas or whatever the reasons are. That's what we're going to ultimately mean when we say over policing. And the question is every community across America equally over policed, or white people represented proportionally when it comes to false imprisonments, exonerations, and false convictions, right? Are Spanish people represented in the same ways? We can start to sort of like disaggregate all of this data for any given specific populace, specific like urban area. If you want to do this, but like just look up who's overrepresented when it comes to false convictions.
I think that's exactly. I couldn't agree more with that. Let's directly address the reality here that there is racial bias in day-to-day policing, and I'll prove that by one question. I mean, you tell me, do you really think a white driver in a wealthy suburb gets searched at the same rate or a broken taillight as a black driver in an underfunded zip code?
There's an easy answer for this. I don't know why this isn't a question.
So I'm guessing that the answer to that is going to come down to something like the classified or sort of like the multiplied, right? And I have no problem with this. Like, so after the case where I just wanted to describe, can I just, I didn't get a chance to finish. I just wanted to say, everything was asked what happened in his situation. We pointed out that like he was essentially profiled. He wasn't the guy we were looking for. And the police essentially jumped straight into sort of like trying to physically advocate. I think that's perfectly indicative, despite the fact that like we're kind of having this conversation lighthearted with levity. Don't mind that. I'm just saying that like this story happens far more often than you would think for black people in America. That's all.
Yeah, but to answer William's question, the cops will probably be more apt to deliver the broken headlight or tail light in the poor community than a poor black person driving, because they're thinking, oh, it's, I have a lawful reason now to stop this car. And if I smell marijuana, maybe I'll see some drugs, and then I'll get into a search, and then I'll get into a bus, and I'll get a bunch of cocaine, and I'll get, I'll look for the sarge. Like, versus the pattern of the white guy who's driving his Mercedes, and it's broken. It's like, fucking, there's nothing in it for me.
Do you mind if I respond?
But and then I think Jake's been wanting to go.
You came up here talking about how black people were entitled to complaining, basically that black people were lazy or something. That's not what you came up here saying. And then now they're pushing back saying, you know what, this is really add up. You're saying that black people are whining for handouts. I'm saying to you that you're just trying to ignore real problems, right? So most safety net recipients are working people. They're children.
Communist is crazy. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's like an actor, or shtick, or a cartoon. I don't really know how to describe him. I mean, he speaks a lot of truth, but also he says shit as part of the shtick, so it's hard to tell sometimes when he really
Yeah, and that's what makes me sick. It's just like these conversations that people, you know, they don't actually want to face and learn anything. They just want to come in here and get clout. And so communists, I see right through you, man. You just want to come up here and kind of like get attention. I just think that's really
Well,
Wait, let me get the projection mirror out for you, William. I'm gonna roll the projection mirror out, William. Projection
would you
out.
believe me if I told you he was running for office in Chicago?
Yeah, I would because the least among us are the people who lead us, right? We are absolutely led by the absolute.
Don't make any assumptions. You know what they say about men that make assumptions, William. Get that projection mirror out and activate the projection detection system. Excuse me? That's a projection. You're projecting onto me.
Anybody who would vote for somebody like you is mentally fucking ill, must have 18 to 30 different kinds of fucking mentally.
You're projecting onto me, William. You're projecting on. This is pure
He's
projection.
got at least 30 cell phones in his room, and they're all hooked up like Hannibal Lecter, monitoring all these different rooms and shit. It's quite a sight. Go with YouTube, check it out.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the chat. I'll put a link in the chat. Yep, you can watch me do yoga in my underpants, so you can increase your flexibility and your strength. Go ahead, William, Dr. William.
He's super intelligent, though. I have to admit.
Let me ask you a question. So is expecting your local tax dollars to pay for decent public schools and safe streets, is that asking for a handout? Is that people complaining?
No, William the Wigger, that's a hand up, not a handout, William the Wigger. Listen, William, I was wondering, is there such a thing as a white N-word? Can you be a white N-word? That's the question of the night.
You got backed into a corner and now you're
Backed into a corner. This dump truck's ready to dump. William, you are retarded. Take your stupid suit. Take your stupid.
You read my mind, Jay. Huey, ask a question, then we'll go to Jay.
So I don't want to ask a question and then like prolong my speaking time here. Oh, that's fine. Oh, because I wanted to respond to what Beaver said, so I guess you can.
Or yeah, whatever. Respond. No, go ahead, Huey.
Okay, I'll try and be super quick. So Beaver, in what you pointed out about like the tail light hypothetical or thought experiment there, I understand it, but I think there's like. Ironically, there's something that's counterintuitive. If I'm a police officer and I'm in a rich neighborhood and somebody has their tail light out, I should be more suspicious of the person who could afford to easily get it fixed than the person in the like poor community who it makes perfect sense why their tail light is likely to be out, right? And if like the only reason why I'm really stopping them is to look for marijuana, then there's a presupposition there that's I would say is a bit of an unhealthy presupposition on my part as a police officer in a poor community to think that like the tail lights out, therefore it must be weed marijuana because only bad people, right, ultimately have car problems such that like they would need to have those car problems rectified by selling drugs. Like something kind of doesn't make sense there for me that like I would stop the person in the poor community with the tail light out, suspecting that they're doing drugs or selling drugs or doing any of that, and they wouldn't get the tail light fixed. Like drug dealers, like smart drug dealers would get the tail light fixed so that they don't get stopped, if that makes sense, right? Like,
let me put it this way. A cop that's just started, rookie cop, and then his first 2 years, he stopped, let's say, 40 taillights in a Mercedes in a nice neighborhood, and 37 of the time out of 40, it's been total, like, yeah, it was just a broken taillight that just happened, and he just writes it up, the ticket, and it's like, okay, go get it fixed, or he gives them a warning, versus the 40 times in the other neighborhood. So let's say 10 times there's been drugs or nefarious criminal, cocaine or something. So it's just after a while, he's like, that's what he learns. He learns what to look for him to score a bust.
I think actually I didn't even think about that, Beaver. Do you think that's the question? Is that wrong or not? Because like, if
it's not. I don't think it's wrong or right. It's just the way it is. Like, it's
How can you say it's not right or wrong? You're talking about cops intentionally targeting somebody because they think that they could get. That's a structural. That's now inside of the. That's the corruption of the law enforcement. You are innocent to proven guilty. You need suspicion. You need beyond reasonable doubt in order to even stop somebody. You're saying that we're gonna do it on the pretense, right? And this is what I'm talking about: over policing. This is exactly the proof. The pretense that it might lead to something else, and what it might lead to. But hold on. But the whole point is, listen to what you're saying. It's going to lead to a victim's crime. Somebody has pot on them. Oh well, hold on a second now, because now we're talking about how much you think that Black Americans do pot more than white Americans, right? You think. That's what I'm talking about, though. This is what I'm saying. It's going to lead to
and they learn that they're going to get it in a
So
certain.
you think that Black Americans? This is what I'm talking about. This is trash. That they
No, it's called
drugs more than meth head white people or I mean, like, come on, what are we talking?
No, in a nice suburban neighborhood. Now, if you're out in the trailer park area where there's white trash, it's the same principle. They're going to pull those guys over because they're probably learned in Beckley, West Virginia. They're going to know that Skeeter and Jethro, they're in their wife beaters and their buzzed heads and they're tatted up and their shitty Pontiac and they're driving around with no taillights. Oh, let's get them. We have a lawful stop. We can pull them over, and the search will be legal.
You're still. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're still talking about the same. You're still saying that you're going to target innocent people. When I say innocent, it's people that have not harmed, are not actively harming any person or person's property. They're minding their own business.
I was thinking it's right or wrong.
Right. And that's my problem with it. You're saying that there is no right or wrong. That is wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
It's racial profiling.
That's
So
harassment.
don't pull over the taillight is what you're saying, or do it no matter what. That's. I would say in a perfect world, yeah, you would pull them over no matter what, but they're after promotions, they're after their own self-interest.
And so you have to identify that as a problem, Beaker.
He says
In
it's
law
not a
enforcement, the law institutional law.
Exactly. And the other thing is when we talk about when we talk about police and over policing, there's also the use of force or the lack of use of force. Because when police, and we've seen this how many times, when they're dealing with black, especially the youth, you see like black kids, whether they treat black kids versus whether they treat white kids, it's like night and day. Like there is a when it comes to the way that white people are treated, particularly white youth, like there's so much more like patience, courtesy, and consideration and grace that's given. Whereas, like, they be treating like black kids like they're grown adults. That happens all the time, and the brutalizing and the lack of the just acknowledgement of like that you're dealing with youth. So yeah, over policing rears its ugly head in a lot of different ways, but fundamentally, this is about why is it acceptable for there to be an unequal distribution of policing based on the color of the skin or predominance of the color of the skin or culture or race of the community? Point blank in the period. Oh, and last thing I'll say really quick is if we want to talk about crime, especially with everything going on with immigration and ICE and everything like that, a big part of like why that's going on is because they're saying, they're bringing in drugs. Well, guess who does drugs? And especially the good shit. Rich white people. So why are they not getting the fucking drug lords from the rich white communities? Oh, I wonder why. Maybe skin color?
Exactly. They're racially profiling. Let's not fucking beat around the bush. They want to do fishing expeditions against black people more often. If you don't see that, then it's just, like, are you dumb? I mean, there's actually scientific studies too, like through Stanford University, and they show that scientists actually study like hundreds of millions of traffic stops with this idea, so that when the sun goes down and the cops can't see the driver's skin color through the windshield, the stops of the black drivers, they just drop right away. So a
broken tail light is even easier to see at night. So if it was just about the light, then the number wouldn't drop, right? So broken tail lights exist in every single zip code. The difference is that in a wealthy suburb, a broken light gets ignored or gets a friendly warning. While in a black neighborhood, it gets used as an excuse for a fishing expedition, a full car search. But this isn't something that people are making up because they're victims.
But Bieber laid out he took out race, this latest example. And right, Bieber, you said that in a white trash area.
Yeah, likely West Virginia or whatever. It's going to be the same.
Exactly. So how do you square that? Because my question is it wrong to do the big, I guess, haul, so to speak, right, Bieber? That's kind of what the claim is. If you know you can get more out of the stop, and you just take race out of it, because it does happen probably in both neighborhoods. I know that's going to be triggering people.
It's probably more in the white neighborhood.
I know, I'm starting to think so too.
Opioids?
But do you think that's the part I'm wondering about? Is that the part that's wrong at all, or no? I'm just trying
to. Well, I think the wrong. It's the people with the broken tail light that are doing the wrong, and they're getting pulled over. Or it's like the Arab guy going through after 9/11. He gets pulled over going through TSA. He gets searched more often. He's paying for what other people did, and it's not fair. But that's life. Like, how else would you? It's not right.
I think either or is not right. A nigga sitting over here doing some damn opioids, and then you got your drunk drivers with the DWIs. I mean, both of y'all are problems because people are losing their lives based off y'all poor choices and behavior, while y'all sitting here getting behind the goddamn wheel, and now you done jeopardize somebody else's goddamn life. I don't give a damn if it's opioids, DWI. Carrying some damn drugs, like you're a harm to other people. So yeah.
The point for me is that, and I'm not trying to gotcha anyone. Maybe nobody is a racist in the room. I'm just trying to say that if the root cause is poverty. The root cause is a lack of opportunity for both groups, whether you're white, quote unquote white meth head, or you're in a tough black neighborhood. So what we should be fixing the local community instead of blaming a group.
Poverty has nothing to do with you guys' poor choices. You have rich people all the time making dumbass fucking choices. I mean, like, we're not gonna sit here and act like this is a fucking poverty thing. This is about fucking behavior. How people exhibit patterns. Then after a while, they start becoming addicts. You know what an addict is? Where a person got to keep going to rehab over and over and over.
And William, you're doing that touchy-feely thing where you're like, well, it's not race or anything. It's lack of opportunity. We got to fix the community.
How's that touchy-feely? That's just a.
So that's why I'm going to explain to you. So you say we got to fix the communities. We got to give them opportunities. We got to do this. We got to do that. But then you just kind of stop talking. How would you provide more opportunities? How would you fix the community?
Well, the first thing we would want to do, I've actually raised $2.5 million for disadvantaged youth in my hometown in Selma, Alabama. So that's one way that I've done it.
Well, how did that $2.2 million get used?
How did it get used? For youth mentoring through a YMCA of Selma. So we paired people in the community with at-risk youth. Okay, so saying poverty, and let me go back to the last speaker, because if you say it's poverty, like if it's not poverty, it's behavior, you're just making a circular argument, right? Crime is a behavior. So saying it's behavior, it just describes what happened, it describes what happened, not why it happened. Human behavior doesn't
hear what you just said. You sound stupid. I have never. Wow.
Crime is a behavior. You're just gonna call me stupid.
That's fine. And did you not hear me? Hold on. Excuse me, Mr. William Will. Okay. If you would have heard me, if you would have heard me, ma'am, all that, I don't care. Look, if you would have heard me in the beginning of the conversation, right? I originally said it doesn't matter if you're on opioids, it doesn't matter DWI, it doesn't matter if you get pulled over for a fucking tail light. They're all poor choices and behaviors. I literally said that, but here the fuck you go talking about some damn poverty.
I think they're two different. We're kind of like missing each other on the things. Like,
okay,
we're not missing anything. William's the only thing that's missing.
Because she's calling me stupid. Let me just
I am.
go into the
I
argument.
sure am.
So when you claim that everything's just a poor choice, what are you doing really? You're just treating human beings like robots, aren't you? We just make these decisions in a vacuum. You're ignoring basic biology and real world economics, man. When millions of people across completely different towns fall into the exact same trap, like the opioid epidemic, it's not a massive coincidence of millions of individuals suddenly deciding to make, quote, bad choices on the exact same Tuesday, ma'am. It happens because the environment, the trauma, the biological addiction, the predatory companies like pharmaceutical firms flooding low-income towns with addicted pills. Intentionally.
Isn't that what the fuck I just said? Without you doing all these damn semantics? I literally just fucking said that.
Ma'am, millions of people got addicted to opioids because doctors legally prescribed them pills while pharmaceutical companies lied about how addicted they were.
No shit. No shit.
So
no shit. That's how people can become addicts, because after a while you keep taking the shit. Now after a while your fucking body's immune to it. Duh. I know that.
The fucking estrogen, man, is just spewing all over the room.
And
I think you could calm down. I don't know why.
I'm supposed to have estrogen in my body. The fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, but you have low emotional regulation.
No, you just lack of intelligence.
Well,
that's all. That's okay. And comprehension as well.
Let's bring it back.
So yeah, no, don't help him. Don't help him.
We're not saying we're not.
Don't help him.
We're not really saying different things, though.
He wants to look. He wants to try to gaslight me, and just because he can't have the conversation.
Ma'am, you made a circular argument. You said.
Sir, you made a circular argument because you pretty much repeated what the fuck I just said without you doing all these damn semantics.
Hey, listen. You just proved to everybody in the room that you can't lose an argument.
You just proved to everybody that you can't handle the argument because now you're trying to personally attack me. Come on now.
On an individual basis, people like you get slammed to the fucking ground like
okay. Well, hey, well, guess what? This is why people.
Did you hear that, Matt? He just became
not because you're black, it's because you're literally.
Look at it, Beaver. I think I triggered him, but he over here talking about emotional regulation. He over here talking about slamming somebody on the damn. Sound like you're not regulating them emotions, sir.
You're gonna get slammed on the ground.
We can tell from the way they do it. You're
not?
the kind of person who, when the police turn around and say that you're a rapist, your reaction is, no, I'm not.
I was gonna say, like, if we're watching these.
Not only is he a racist, he's an abuser as well too. So shit, we got multiple charges we can put on your ass.
So I want to get back though. I want to get back to the over policing. I want to get back to that. I want to get back to. I have a question. I love you. I want to get over. I want to get back to. There was an element that I think that we didn't calculate, and that is discretion. If we were to take, because even if we were to take those two different communities, right, there's a level of discretion that police officers are going to use in the white community than they are in black communities, and we see that through statistics too. It's not, why is it that black drivers are stopped 20% more times than white drivers, even in their prospective residential areas?